So this is Pirates for the Commodore 64. This was released, I think, in 1987, originally for the Commodore 64. It was a very popular game at the time, and it was released, it was ported to most of the other systems at the time, Apple, Atari, I think Amiga, and it was also re-released over the years for NES and for PC, and even more recently, I think in 2007 it was re-released. So this is a pretty innovative game for the time. It's an open-ended game. There's no real set goal in the game. You basically sail around as a pirate. You attack other ships and attack other towns and basically collect lots of gold. As the title says, action and adventure on the Spanish Main. This takes place in the 17th century on the Caribbean Sea, and it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing the game. I really don't remember how far I went in the game, but I know I had a lot of fun with it. Now, this package is not the full retail package, although it is the complete game. When you open it up, it's sort of like a little book, but there's the game manual. The game manual is pretty thick. There's a lot of stuff there. There's also the floppy disk. This is the original floppy disk. It says Microprose Pirates. It says this is side 1. This is a flippy disk, although it's right protected, but you can also tell because it has the index holes for both sides. There's nothing on the other side. There's also a map of the game world, and you would need this map to help you find the different towns that you want to sail to. So the manual is important because in the manual there's a bunch of information about the game, and it will ask you questions at various points in time in the game. For instance, the treasure fleet in 1680. The game will pop up and ask you, when did the treasure fleet in 1680 reach Caracas? And you have to answer. If you answer wrong, the game would continue to play, but it would play a higher difficulty level. Now, as I say in all my other videos, if you've seen any of my other videos, I'm going to play this on a real Commodore 64. And as I always say, this is so you can get a feel, authentic feel, as if you were actually playing this in 1987. Now, the game is slow to load, so I am actually going to pause the game. And undoubtedly this video will become a little long because of the nature of the game. There's just a lot of things you can do in the game, and you really can't cover everything in a 5-minute video. You have to have a joystick, and this is a new joystick I recently picked up. It's a pretty crappy joystick. It's a Craft joystick, which was a pretty common name for Apple and PC joysticks back in the day, but it's a crappy joystick. The Commodore 64 joysticks are digital, and the Apple and PC joysticks were analog, but this is just a real bad joystick. So I'm going to use it, but it just sucks. So you stick your floppy disk in my 1541, and we do a typical Commodore startup sequence. Load star, and when it gets to the title screen, I'm going to pause the video because it'll take a few minutes to load the game. And there's the title screen. That'll sit there for a few minutes, so I'm actually going to pause the video and see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so the title screen is cleared, and this is the credits screen. It's still loading, but I'm not going to pause it. And now it says, "Welcome to Pirates." and we're going to choose start a new career. I don't have a saved game, and I don't really want to command a famous expedition. So I press the fire button, start a new career. Do you wish to select a special historical period? No. Wait for it to load on the disk. I'm not going to pause this part because it will take too long. Are you an English buccaneer, a French buccaneer, a Dutch adventurer, or a Spanish renegade? Well, I'm going to be English. And I have no creativity, so I'm going to choose one of their suggestions, Jones. I'm going to set the difficulty for apprentice. As you progress in the game, you can increase the difficulty as you go out and sail against other ships and gain more experience. You can change the difficulty level, but I'm going to start at apprentice. The special ability is kind of important. You could choose fencing, navigation, gunnery, wit and charm, and medicine, and these would give you, I guess, sort of a advantage in those skills. I'm going to choose skill at fencing. There's a mini game, a fencing mini game in there where you attack enemy captains, and it's a Twitch game, and I always sucked at it, and I still suck at it, so I'm going to choose skill at fencing to hopefully give me an edge. So now the game is still reading off the disc, and we're going to get a quick blurb. Young and poor, you seek your fortune in a new world. To purchase passage, you indenture yourself, binding you to work on a sugar plantation for 5 years as payment. But on a plantation, your debts only grow. My portrait. You decide to escape this life of debt slavery. You ask some local seamen about joining the Brethren of the Coast. Aye, mate, they reply. But do you know when the silver train arrives at Portobello in 1660? And that's when you would take your manual, as I mentioned earlier, and you would look up the answer. In the manual, and it would say the the silver train in Portobello in 1660. The silver train in Portobello arrives in early September. So you press the trigger and choose September and early. If I answer wrong, it'll still let me play, but undoubtedly I would lose. So if I press early, and if I answer right, the seamen are really buccaneers. In need of knowledge, they invite you to join their party, but the voyage is unprofitable. The men decide new leadership is required. They nominate you to duel the captain for command of the ship. And this is the fencing mini game. And if I lose this game, you basically got to start the game over. But I won, so I can continue on. There's my happy man. Victorious, you and her friends put the malcontents ashore. Now it's time to set course for adventure, fame, and fortune along the fabled Spanish Main. And insert side 2. Press the button. And these are suggestions. The sailing master takes you aside and says, here in St. Kitts, you'll probably be wanting to see the English governor and visit a tavern or two. The men will be anxious for plunder and adventure, so we needn't be sightseeing for too long. The closest Spanish city is San Juan, which lies a few days sailing to the northwest. The French city is Guadeloupe to the southeast. Dutch city is Saint Eus whatever, which lies a few days sailing to the north. The game is still loading off the disc while this introduction screen is going. But this introduction screen basically gives you a good idea what you do when you go into the town. You go into a new town. If it's a friendly town, you talk to the governor. He would give you probably a letter of marque, and then which would allow you to be a privateer and attack enemy ships. Otherwise, you're a pirate. You would go into the tavern to hire on your crew, get some news, and there's a few other things to see in the town. And while the game is loading, I'm going to pause it again. Well, that wasn't that long. Now it says St. Kitts, and you get statistics on the town. It's an English port, has 2 forts, 100 soldiers, 2,600 citizens, 6,000 gold, and it's prospering. My date is March 1660, and these are the options I can do in the town. And the very first thing I want to do is visit the governor. My dear Mr. Jones, we are at war with the Spanish and we are at war with the Dutch. I charge you to seek out and destroy our enemies' ships and towns. So Spanish and Dutch are fair game. Anybody else is not. If I can attack the other people. If I think it was French. If I attack French, I'll become an enemy. And then the next time I come into town, they'll arrest me. We just visited the governor. Now we're going to go visit a tavern where I can hire on a crew. Look, it's that promising sea dog, Mr. Jones. A rowdy group of 33 men asked to join your crew. I will sign them up. And the tavern news, this ad will change over time as you do things, and as time elapses, you'll get various different news. England is at war with Spain. Malaria strikes St. Kitts, yada yada yada. You can continue to read it on. I don't really have anything to trade at the merchant. I don't know how much gold I have, and we haven't gone out to plunder, so I don't really know what I've got, but we'll look and see. And I have 2,000 gold, and he's got a lot of stuff. Food you need for the men on the ship. Goods, sugar are trading commodities. I'm not going to bother trading. And I have 8 cannon, and it says I have space for 22 tons. I'm not going to do anything, but this gives you an idea what you see when you come back into a friendly town. And of course, we haven't gone out to plunder anybody, so there is no plunder to divide. Check information is a sub-menu. Gives you a lot of information. Party status, how many men I've got, how many cannon I've got, how many days worth of food I have. This is my personal status. My English, I have the letter of marque, and I don't have any titles for the other nations. And if I were to go out and attack them, I would probably get enemy or something like that. I'm 25 years old. I have no land. Ship's log is sort of what we just saw in the tavern. England is at war with Spain. Malaria strikes St. Kitts. Maps doesn't show anything. I don't remember if I have to collect maps as I go through the game. And cities will give you various cities. It's an English town. 60 soldiers. This would help me plan towns that I wanted to attack. So if I wanted to attack, for instance, Santiago, 3 forts, 300 soldiers, that's a pretty big town. I'm not going to attack that. So this would give you an idea of where you wanted to go, who you wanted to visit and attack. Save the game, obvious, but I'm not going to save the game. Continue the travels, and then I will leave the town, and that'll bring me back onto my not back onto my ship, that'll bring me to my ship. And there's my ship. These are the towns. Sail ho, the lookout reports a sail on the horizon, and we're in Dutch waters. The master reminds, shall we investigate? Of course. She looks like a sloop. Shall we investigate? Yes. She's flying Dutch colors. So we're going to attack them. Doesn't matter, even if they were whatever, French or Spanish, I'm still going to attack them. And this brings me into the battle for the sea battle. I can shoot cannon, and I have to try to get close to the ship and board the ship. I'm on the left. That's my ship. And you can see on the bottom various stats. And I'm boarding the ship. Now I have to fight the enemy captain. This is a sword game, sword fighting game. And I will use the rapier. And on the bottom you can see stats. I'm Jones. I have 73 men. We're strong. He has 12 men. He's shaken. Panic, shaken. So we're slaughtering them. Yep. So the battle's done. We've captured a 6-gun sloop of 40 tons. We have space for 22 tons. We're gonna send a prize crew. It's a nice sized ship. I'm not gonna keep them though. I'm gonna take all their food. They don't have any goods. And take all their sugar. I could sell them later. And I'm gonna take all their cannon. Now we're back at sea, and I'll try to get another event if I can. By the way, you have to sail with just like a sailing ship. You have to sail with wind in mind. So there's another ship. We're going to investigate that. It's another sloop. We'll investigate. Dutch, we're going to close for battle. I have 2 sloops. Unfortunately, they're both called sloops, and now I have to remember which one is which. The first one is my first ship. That's where all my men and guns are. The second sloop is empty, so of course I'm going to use the first one. You just have to remember which is which. And we have to close for battle. I'll raise my sail so I can and the guns can only shoot perpendicular to their beam. So if I'm directly behind him, he can't shoot his guns. I'm boarding the ship again, and I have to attack the captain again, just like before. It'll give me the same similar stats. Use the rapier again, and he's got 20 men. I've got 65 men. and I won that battle. And this one I'm just going to plunder and sink them. So I'll say plunder and sink, and it's the same thing. You choose what I want. I'm of course going to take everything I can. And now we're back at sea. Now I'm going to go back to the town. Oh, here's another. Well, let's investigate. This one says English water, so it might be an English ship. It's a frigate, Captain. Let's investigate. I'm not going to close for battle. Let's hail for news. And again, this is the same news. Nothing's changed since I left port the first time. So we'll just keep going out. I'm going to land. I think this is where I was. This is the Dutch town. Oops, I don't want to be here. We're at war with the Dutch town. Let's get back on my boat. St. Kitts. This is an English town. This is friendly. Now, if this was an enemy town, I could attack the town. If this was a town where I'm wanted, I could sneak into town. I'm not wanted here, and it's a friendly town, so I'm just going to sail into the harbor. This is the town menu. Let's visit the governor, see if he says anything. Nothing new there. Oh, he's going to tell me something else. Governor presents you with an elaborately written royal proclamation. In recognition of your brave and loyal service to the English crown, I do gladly confer upon you the title of Ensign Jones. I shall also grant you 50 acres of land in recognition for your noble deeds. Nice, so I got land. I'm getting a little bit famous. Who's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. I have recently had news of your long-lost sister, the governor says. The evil Spaniard Count Enriquez knows your sister's whereabouts. He was last seen in the city of Rio de Jaca, the governor adds. So I guess I have to go find my sister and rescue her. I'm not going to do that because this video is getting much too long to begin with. The governor introduces you to his young daughter. She is presently being courted by Admiral Clinton, but she definitely seems interested in you. Of course I'm going to make pleasant conversation. Try to weasel my way into their good graces. So we're done with the governor. We went out, we attacked a couple of ships, we've got some plunder, so let's divide up the plunder. Amid great anticipation, the plunder is counted and divided. Each crew member's share comes to 50 gold pieces. Uh-oh, most of the crew feels quite angry with their portion. Oh, that's not a good sign. As captain, apprentice of the party, you receive 2 officers' portions, totaling 240 gold pieces. The crew swaggers off to squander their hard-won gold. The local taverns resound to the din of drunken sea chanties. I'm going to plan another expedition. I could, if I wanted to, advance to journeyman level. I'm not gonna. And time passes and it's given me status. My ship is refitted, provisioned, and I have no crew. If I go to check information, I got a party status. I should have no crew. Well, 18 men stayed. And if I go to my personal status, I should see a little bit more. I'm an ensign. The Dutch are wary of me, and I have 50 acres. So we'll go back to the town. We'll visit the tavern. We're going to hire up another new crew. 41 men. I also think as your reputation increases, you get a better reputation, you get more rich, you get more land, and so on. The crew that you'll sign up will be bigger and bigger. And you saw earlier in one of my battles, I could capture the ship or sink the ship, so I could have a fleet. So if I wanted to have a fleet of 2 ships, I could move these men and have 20 on one and 21 men on the other, and basically keep doing that. You would get bigger ships as you go on. You have a bigger fleet, and you could attack the towns. If you remember, I looked at Santiago. It had 300 soldiers. There's no way I would attack that town with 41 men. But as time goes by and we have more successful raids, I can. Oh, what is this? A traveler from Portobello offers to sell you information for 70 gold pieces. Let's see what it is. Oh, so this is statistics on the town. 2 forts, 130 soldiers. Still big. Now, some new news has come up. Spain captures Montserrat. Indians attack Trinidad. Spain and France are at war. And new gold mine at Portobello. I'm not gonna do much more on this video. That's basically what you see in the game. And this is the part I hate about the game, is when you're trying to get out of port. My ship is pointing at the town. So let's try to get out of. And I could just sail around. And as I said, it's an open-ended game. I'm not sure what or if the end is. If you try to attack a town and you're captured, I think you can probably be killed. If you lose the sword battle, those kind of things. But it was a really fun game. So anyways, that is Pirates for the Commodore 64. Thank you for watching.